Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Fashion Summit Hong Kong 2024. I'm Jennifer, and it's my great honor and pleasure to be here again today, this year, to be the MC. So as a friendly reminder, if you would like to ask questions during the Q&A session, please scan the QR code at the back of your admission badge to access the online platform to submit your questions. Now let's begin the second panel discussion of the day, potentials of green support to drive sustainable fashion business. Fashion Summit has invited leaders along the supply chain to join this panel to discuss how the industries can ride on the green support to pursue sustainable fashion business. To begin, may I invite our moderator, Professor Thomas C.C. Wong, Chairman of the Institute of International Sustainable Development. Professor Wong, please. And our speakers, Ms. Gina Azaric, Senior Executive Advisor and Board Professional. Ms. Chloe Deng, Director of Public Affairs, International Business, CAINIAO. Professor Esterina Nervino, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Department of Marketing, City University of Hong Kong. And Mr. Paul Tai, Regional Director at Mainetti Group. Please proceed to the stage. Thank you, Professor Wong and the speakers.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, speakers, thank you for coming. Today, we have a very important topic for our industry. And if you look at our panel, you will notice that not every one of them are from the fashion or textile industry. And that we do it on purpose, so that you can look at our industry from the outside and also from different dimensions. The topic today is potentials of green support to drive sustainable fashion business. I mean, we have been talking about sustainable fashion for a long time, but the important thing is the solutions. When prioritizing sustainable fashion business, companies should not only mitigate environmental impact, but also unlock new avenues for growth and innovation. So various green support like green marketing within the apparel industry underscores its transformative potential and strategic significance. So ladies and gentlemen, as I just mentioned to you, we have a very impactful and wise panel. And I would like to introduce them one by one to you. And I would give them some time to introduce themselves as well. To start off, I would like to introduce Ms. Gina Azaric. Actually, she flown in from Sweden just 2 days ago. And Gina has promoted initiatives in digitalization, eco-friendly product development, and sustainable branding. Although Gina is from Sweden, she has very close and good connection with Hong Kong. She worked for Hutchison Whampoa for 15 years, but that is in Scandinavia. So she has the Hong Kong connection, but at the same time knows what other people think of our Hong Kong brands. So Gina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Thomas, for those very kind words. Yes, I'm Gina Azaric. I'm from Scandinavia, from Stockholm, Sweden. I'm board professional and advisor. Previously, I worked as a chief marketing officer in different industries, spanning from beauty industries and retail, to food and beverage, to telecom, mobile, tech, media. And what I've seen is very much into sustainability. When you put that in the core of the business, the impact it makes. But I've also seen that across the industries, we have exactly the same challenges, and we can learn a lot from each other.
Okay, thank you. And the second speaker is Ms. Chloe Deng. She works for a very famous company. Although it's not directly related to fashion and textile, but we're using her service every day. She works for CAINIAO. Chloe is a motivated public affairs professional experience in advocacy, government collaboration, stakeholder management, and business development. So, Chloe, would you like to say a few words to us?
Thank you, Thomas. It's great to meet you all here. As Thomas mentioned, I work for CAINIAO, Alibaba's smart logistic arm. I guess a lot of people are actually using our services every day, especially in the past few weeks during the big promotion for Double 11. And we not only serve the e-commerce platforms under Alibaba family, we also work with different brands, especially the fashion one, to help them to do the supply chain management, especially when it when it goes to cross-border. So we hope that we can provide a one-stop solution with technology, digitalization, IoT, so that we can have a more efficient logistics services as well as a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. And the next speaker I would like to introduce to you is Professor Esterina Nervino. First of all, she's very much related to today's topic because our partner country is Italy, and she is Italian. Not only that, I have a nickname for her. I always call her Lady Marco Polo because she's from Italy, she knows Italy, and she has been in Hong Kong for over 10 years. She knows Hong Kong as well. And he has worked for the fashion industry and the fashion brands before. But now she is an assistant professor at City University of Hong Kong. And she believes that the solutions to problems often might come from different sectors. So that's why we have all the panelists here today. And she also believes that innovation and creativity, along with time management and interdisciplinary mindset, are the key to success in any field. So, Esterina, please.
Thank you, Thomas, for the very nice introduction. And yes, I'm Italian. I've been living in Hong Kong for over 10 years. And today I'm very proud of representing this exchange in between our two sides of the world. I'm an assistant professor. I'm an applied linguist by training. And I do research on the role of discourse in the sustainability discussion. So looking at what's the role of language, images, colors, whenever we have our encounter with anything that we could define sustainable, particularly in the space of fashion and luxury. So I'm very happy to be here today and having the chance to discuss with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Mr. Paul Tai. Ladies and gentlemen, I strongly suggest that after the panel, you go and ask Paul Tai for his name card. It's very impressive. The reason is this. He has grown his company. He is a regional director at Mainetti Group. Under his leadership, the group has grown from a startup to an establishment with more than 10 operations in Asia. When you look at his name card, you will see that he has a list of many different cities where he has his company has a presence, factories or office. So, and Paul has also numerous contributions to the industry. He is supportive of institute-industry collaborations. So, Paul, would you like to introduce more about yourself?
Thank you, Thomas. I think I feel a little bit shy now when you. Basically, I'm the regional director of an Italian company called Mainetti. Yeah, I'm so lucky that we are part of the fashion industry for over 60 years. We supply coat hangers and packaging products for many luxury brands and mass market. When you share with the audience that we have many locations in Asia, simply because of the fashion. So they move to different countries, to move to different markets, and we just follow the customer footsteps. Thanks for having us today.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have met all our panelists, by the way, my name is Thomas Wong. And so, friends, I have a question for all of you. Just pretend that you have a crystal ball in front of you. My question is about the future. My question is about future trends. So looking ahead, what trends do you see emerging from sustainable fashion industry that could reshape the market and create new opportunity for growth? So maybe we start with Paul.
I think there are two types of customer or consumer. One of them really look at the focus and really buy in sustainability. So I would expect the fashion, they will buy less, buy more expensive, use better material. So this is one end. On the other end is, I think, super fast fashion, which is a look at quick and cheap. So I think this is the trend. And it's getting more and more difficult to run the fashion business now because of geopolitics. Yeah. But anyway, this is the trend.
I see. So not so much opportunities for people in between the luxury and the fast fashion. So, Esterina, what is your view on this?
Based on research I've been conducting, but also the continuous collaboration with industry partners, what I could see is that, yes, definitely we are looking for products that are of higher quality, and working in the luxury space actually confirms that, because sustainability is also expensive anyway. I could see that there is a huge push for collaboration across different industries, but also this continuous exchange in looking at sustainability as multidimensional. So we have already ESG, environment, social, governance. Issues like climate change, they are not only environment, they are also social, as eventually changes in weather could lead to disasters, and that has an impact of people. So I see that companies are also looking into localize their sustainability practices in looking at what are the social issues that they could potentially solve, as we have metrics to assess environmental impact, but nowadays we do not yet have anything on the social side. So particularly in the College of Liberal Arts and Social Science, we are quite keen in providing support to industries in that space.
Yes, multidimensional is also one of the key, as you mentioned, yeah? So, Gina, how about you?
So my perspective comes, of course, very much from Scandinavia, and even though it's a small part of the world, we are very much leading within the sustainability domain. And what I see are two very strong trends. The first one is the future belongs to the young people, which makes the question why we are sitting here. And the young people in Scandinavia are extremely conscious in sustainability, and what we see now is a value system where they actually almost shame people that are into fast fashion, and that is creating divide within the value system and within people, and the sustainable values are growing in importance with these young people, which is very, very much promising, but at the same time, they're not so very much into spending more. So the second hand is becoming extremely trendy with shops that look very fashionable, but they're totally in second hand. H&M, a Swedish brand, they have entire parts of their shops which is within second hand and in a fashionable style. The other part, which is something we haven't discussed in this forum yet, is actually the capital market. So what we see from investors and the capital market in Scandinavia is that they have extremely high requirements on the ESG from companies, and that is very promising too. So even though globally, I totally see what you mean, Paul, but from a very progressive point of the world, we see a kind of more positive trend.
So, Gina, so you are talking about young people, of course. I mean, they have more years to enjoy on the earth, so they will look at this more seriously than the older people like me. And also, you are talking about capital market. That is where we can see some pressure going into our industry for change. So, Chloe, so because you are not exactly from the fashion or textile industry, so how do you see our future?
Oh, actually, even though we are not from the industry and from the data, from the goods that we deliver every day, we can see the trend. Like especially on the e-commerce platform, we can see that the consumption is actually downgrading and upgrading at the same time. So downgrading is quite easy to understand. The economy is not good, so people are spending less, or they are buying more and more cheaper things. So when they buy more cheaper things, and it is very difficult to see there is enough sustainability element inside those products. But we can also see from the platform that there are more and more people buying very special things online, like very designer brands, something that they cannot find in the local market. And from the Chinese market, we can see that they are buying more and more imported products. So that means that like from the logistics sector, we need to pay more attention for the carbon footprint. Because when you do the import, you will pay attention to like how much like energy they consume. And as we are in the e-commerce sector, you understand that we are using a lot of packaging every day. So so we need to be more careful when we see these kinds of trends. And at the same time, we also see that a customer wants to buy something with some tailor-made or customization in their product. So it's no longer a mass production anymore. They want to have something that can show their personality. Yeah, maybe just a small, I don't know, label or a pattern before they can get it. And so in terms of the logistics, we are not only doing the delivery. Sometimes we need to like add those kinds of elements for those products before we send it out to our customer. So I think these are all the new trends, and of course it's becoming more and more challenging. But at the same time, when we see these kind of new things, there will be more and more opportunities to us as well.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just heard from our panelists looking at the future from different angles. My next question is something like this. I mean, we all know how important sustainability is. We all even know how sometimes to be more green in our production, in our daily life. I think most of us sitting here would like to see some solutions. What and how can we make this a better world for the future generations? So the next question I would like to ask Gina and Esterina, and that is about innovative marketing strategies. What are some innovative marketing strategies that brands can adopt to effectively communicate their sustainability efforts to consumers? How do these strategies help in building brand loyalties? Maybe Esterina, maybe we can start.
Thank you for the question. In terms of marketing, I would like to actually state that sustainability is no longer a marketing tool, no longer a competitive advantage. We are lucky enough that today we can say that is not a nice to have, but a must to have. So following this, we should look at the way we communicate that our products somehow have been produced in a sustainable way with evidence-based storytelling. So through the studies that I've been doing, I can see that if we look at regulations and how they have been put in place, before I would say from banks framing sustainability as a business opportunity, having products that could actually incentivize their clients to transform, and nowadays with regulations, the way that companies themselves can influence consumption by clearly stating the way that the product is actually being made, where, and here blockchain in terms of innovation is definitely useful. But also this morning, Peter Hui mentioned we should also look at how to promote products in a way that they are made through sustainable process, but they can be at the same time competing with other products, the way we frame them. So for instance, Gina, you mentioned secondhand. We could use language to define it as pre-loved goods, so we don't have the second-hand idea that some consumers may not fully embrace. This morning, Peter was talking about how instead of framing sustainability as a cost, we frame it as an investment. So here, I mean, my studies on the language used, I think they could be quite useful to understand how we can deploy what we have in terms of narrative, even linking it to culture. If we think of China and Taoism, there's also the beginning of sustainability, a sort of ante litteram. So looking at evidence-based storytelling could be one way to look at regulation not only as a constraint, but actually as an opportunity to develop the communication strategies.
Yes, very good. Regulations could give us a lot of inspirations as well. So the next question I would like to ask Chloe and Paul. And Gina, sorry.
It's okay. In terms of time, we could go on.
No, please. We would like to hear from you.
I just want to acknowledge your beautiful statement. I love words, and I just would love to add, I think in this domain, action is so extremely important. And coming back also to greenwashing, what I see when people are authentic and when you put sustainability in the core of your product, in the business model, and I think one of the challenges we have in organizations and companies is many times that sustainability is a department of itself. So what we did in my company is that we actually said, no, sustainability has to be within the business unit. And through that, we could actually create products where we could put sustainability in the business model, in the financial model. So I'm talking more about finances because marketing is kind of the last part of that. And there's this word saying, follow the money. And that's what we need to do with sustainability. So I'm so much for putting it into action, putting it deliverable products.
Yeah, putting into actions and the money, yeah? So that is obviously very important. Yeah, Paul, please.
Thank you, Gina. And in Europe is the pioneer in sustainability. There are many tariffs or duties for good reason, and which is, I think the supply chain is already changing now. And a lot of people underestimate that there are a 2030 in China. The business model, we still have only, I think, 5 to 6 years to change. At that point, there will be more and more regulation. If the business is not sustainability ready, I think we will be out of business very soon. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, exactly. Very true. So I would like to talk about collaboration with brands from now, for the next couple of minutes. And so that's why I would like to ask Chloe and Paul. I mean, in your experience, what are the key factors that make collaboration between service providers, such as logistic providers, and fashion brands successful in achieving sustainability goals? Maybe Chloe, you start.
Yeah, actually, our company pay much attention to ESG, not because we want to have a beautiful report every year, but because the cost. So you can, when I introduced CAINIAO just now, a lot of people are actually smiling. So they understand that how much packaging you are creating every day. Yeah, so it's not only about the environment, it's also about the cost. So when we talk about collaboration with the brands, to be honest, cost is still their priority. So we cannot only talk about the good stories about why we need to go environment friendly, but we need to use the biggest incentive to like ask them to work with us. So when we talk about the package, the boxes and the plastic bags and red tape actually use a lot in our daily business. So, and it also costs a lot of like cost for the brand. So we actually work with them, and at our company, we created an intelligent box design algorithm so that we can help the client to better design their boxes. So back in China, we have 16 different type of size of the boxes. So that, and we also have an algorithm to tell the worker who pack every parcel which is the best box they need to use for each order. If we don't have this algorithm, I think every worker will just choose the biggest one and then put all the product in and then put a lot of bubble so that it's easy. They don't need to think. But when you receive the parcel, you think it's a headache. Because I saw many pictures of customers complaining how much packaging are actually useless. Yeah, so we developed the algorithm with the brand and not only help them to have better cost control, but also help them to win the customer's trust and better relationship. So we are providing the actual solution to them. Another thing I want to share is that we also partner with some brands like Nike last year to do some recycling. So we have like thousands of CAINIAO post station back in China because the shop are actually quite large, so we can have a special area for the recycling. We partner with this brand, and we not only recycle those boxes, but also those like old clothes, shoes. Customer, when they come to the pickup station to pick up their parcel, they can also bring the old things they don't use anymore to the station, and we help them to collect. And after we collect those like shoes and clothes, actually we work with the partner to like do something new. Like maybe we can like create the new material which can be used at the basketball court or other things. And they also will get the points from the app. And we have a special like scheme for the older people. Because for younger people, it's easy to ask them to do recycling. But what's the incentive for the older people? So we ask them to bring their old stuff to us, and then we give them eggs. Very practical and easy. So one pair of shoes and like 2 or 3 eggs. So quite easy for them, and they got the incentive. And they not only bring their own stuff, they also bring their friends, relatives' stuff back. So actually, we are motivating them to join our campaign.
Wow, very good idea. Eggs for old running shoes, maybe, yeah. So I think Chloe gave us a very good example how to solve some of these sustainability issues and how tech can come in and help us. So Paul, how about you?
Thank you. I think we exist because of the fashion, first of all. And we exist because of the global sourcing. I think we will continue to exist because of the sustainability. And Chloe just shared that the box. Then let me share with you our experience with the box so that you can see how the whole supply chain changed together, even a small box. I can only share with you our business, which we supply a lot of hangers. A lot of garment makers, when they ship the garments to US or UK in Europe, they ship with the box, and within the box they put also the hangers. Yeah, put also the hangers. So we have to design some hangers which is lighter, and lighter. And we have to design hangers which is thin and thinner and thinner. So, and at the same time durable. So this is how we serve Decathlon. And then it is an ongoing improvement process. And not only that, we have to provide a system so that we can recycle all these material as far as we can. So that's why we set up a recycling centers in Netherlands. So all the hangers from that customer I just mentioned can going back to our recycling center in Netherlands, and the product will ship back to Bangladesh and China. And this is how we put the circular economy in practice, even a hangers. We have similar things in, and so of course it needs a customer support. Yeah, it is very, very important. And customer needs consumer to support so that they pay a little bit premium. Then the whole supply chain can survive. Not only on the hangers, but also on polybag. The polybag. We have a recycling polybag factories in the UK. Yeah, and all this and all that. And along the years, 10 years, 20 years, we set up the whole global recycling system which is actually support a circular economy. We think a lot of good things should not go to landfill. It should be recycled and reused. We even work with our partner to set up the reuse and recycling unit. If this can be reused, then we reuse. If it cannot be reused, then we can recycle. So the whole process, I think, going back to the basics of the sustainability, reduce, the size, thinner and then recycle, and then reuse. So we put everything into practice, and we are so happy that many of our customers support these changes in at least 10 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I think Paul has just shared to us the importance of the 3 R's, yeah? So that is also very interesting solutions. Talking about solutions, as I mentioned, I would like everyone here to walk away with some ideas on solution. So let us come to challenges and solutions. So speakers, what are the main challenges you face when trying to implement sustainable practices in your respective fields? And what solutions have you found to be effective? Who would like to start? Maybe Gina, you start.
Yes, I would like to come to usually what we learned in school, which is product price and promotion, and that we need to think about that in a total other way and diverse way, and starting actually with the planet and the people, and then how can the product support the planet and the people. And I think going from those 3 first piece to the other 3 piece, talking about language too, that you're an expert in, just putting that mindset into investments, into founders, into leaders, managers, people working with that, from product design, product development, investment, business cases. How can we start with the planet, with the people, and how can the product support that? That shift is something I've seen in different industries that I've been. When we do that shift on a strategic level, something happens in the company. Adding to that, I think one of the main challenges would be also from the consumer side to be really able to support this. That's the main thing. Without them not supporting this and paying more for this, it will still be a challenge.
So we must have our priorities straight. So who else? Esterina? Yeah.
Well, I think I'm lucky enough at the moment because I work in the education sector. And in the education sector, actually now we all integrate sustainability into the curriculum, whether a subject is directly related or not related to sustainability, it has to hold a sustainability angle. And also researchers, we are collaborating with each other to look at sustainability from different fields. And I think that this is one of the challenges that I see in the industry. Like the department in charge of the product doesn't talk to the department in charge of the communication, or the department that is in charge of finance doesn't talk actually to the commercial team for the KPIs. So sustainability is not a KPI for all the departments. So I think this needs to change. People need to talk to each other. They need to speak the same language. So thanks to the support of CTU, but also the Hong Kong government, I've developed a new course called The Language of Sustainability, which is open to students from engineering or linguistics or business or finance. So they will all learn about the key terms that are related to sustainability. Because at the end of the day, even in Europe, launching regulations that probably companies in Southeast Asia cannot apply because those concepts are not applicable if there are not the infrastructures ready. That could be a challenge for all of us, not only the direct people that might be involved on the disadvantaged side. So I think collaboration could be a key word that we should remember.
So collaboration, and you mentioned the language of sustainability. So let us all get ready to learn a new language. So Paul, you have something to say?
I have the slightly different view. I think it's not only on the fashion industry, it's overall the general understanding of the the resources to keep our Earth surviving. After the Second World War, there's only 2.5 billion people. Now we have 8 billion. The increase is substantial. If we are still using those old ways, old habits to live in this planet, I think we will not last too long. And in terms of a business, because the general understanding of this is not very well aligned, put in this way. Okay, in Italy, much better. We do have an Italian summer intern. He can give me a lecture for 1 hour, what is sustainability. Yeah, and not only Italy, I think Scandinavia is very good. And Korea, Japan, but the rest of the world, and you thought US is very good, actually not yet. There's still a big gap. And that's why it makes our business very, very difficult. You thought we have the same general understanding on the product design. Some countries say, I don't care, I want just 10% cheaper. But some countries say, I want to pay more. Can you not reduce the weight of your product? Can you build more? Because it can last for few-time use rather than one-time use, and all this and all that. I think this is the challenge we have at this moment.
Thank you. So, Chloe, you have something to tell us?
Yes, and I think I want to bring up an element, the space. So I want to talk about the Hong Kong situation. Just like I mentioned, we did a lot of recycling back in China because we have enough space to do so. In Hong Kong, we have over 600 CAINIAO posts across the city, but they are all very tiny shops. So if we want to have some area in the shop to do recycling, first, that's quite difficult because there are too many parcels every day. Secondly, it's very expensive. So how can I sustain my business while I need to do something good? So it's a big challenge for us, the space. And just like I mentioned, we use a lot of technology in our supply chain management. So when we do automation, it needs space as well. So in Hong Kong, space is very expensive. And we don't have a permanent, it's quite difficult to find the permanent space in Hong Kong for automation. Right now, we rent warehouses in Yuen Long, Lau Fau Shan, and the contract only lasts for 3 years. How can I invest robotics and smart logistic devices in those 3-year warehouses? So it's very difficult to do so. And when we talk about sustainability, it's not only about green recycling or using less energy. We are also talking about safety as well. Automation can help us to reduce the risk in the warehouse a lot, but it needs space. So in the Hong Kong circumstance, I think it's difficult to do these kinds of sustainable development initiatives because of the space. And luckily, we have our own facility right now near the Hong Kong International Airport, the tallest building right now on the whole airport island. So we can introduce our technology here to help solve some of the problem. But we also have another 14 distribution center in Hong Kong, and we cannot digitalize or automate the whole warehouse. So I think space is very important here. And can it be a solution? Actually, yes. So instead of building those warehouses for just one floor, maybe we can do it multiple floor so that we can have more space in a limited area. So, but it takes time to build a new infrastructure in Hong Kong. So I think that's the biggest challenge for us to go more sustainable right now in the market.
Thank you, Chloe. Yes, sometimes we can have some good ideas, but still they face a lot of challenges, yeah? So I have many questions from the floor. So let us do the Q&A now. Okay, I have this question from David. You don't need to identify yourself, but it's David. He asked a very interesting question, and he asked, should the marketing of non-sustainable product be banned completely? Bracket, example is the cigarette business. So any ideas? Should we ban non-sustainable product? Yeah, Gina.
I think that's a very innovative thought, maybe radical, and I don't think we're there yet. You know, people are driven by pain or pleasure. And I think more into making sustainability more of a status thing or a pleasurable thing, that going with promoting sustainability instead of punishing the other side. And that's in a way what we see in Scandinavia, that you're proud of being a sustainable ambassador. So I would more promote that aspect of bringing sustainable products to the world.
So carrot and steak. Instead of using a stick, you give them a carrot. So any other thought? Esterina?
Well, there are already regulations in place across different markets to avoid that certain terms that actually inspire consumers to purchase goods that are unhealthy or somehow they can have a negative effect in place. There are also regulations about using empty words to actually describe a product that may hint sustainability, such as in markets like Australia, you can't say eco-friendly or sustainable. You must back it up with like, why are you defining your product as such? So I think in an ideal world, sustainable products would be cheaper and the other ones would not exist, but I think we have a long way to go. I think what we can do is also educating consumers. Like the language of sustainability is not only for the companies, it's actually empowering consumers to understand that certain messages, they need to be backed up by evidence.
Actually, I have a question specifically for CAINIAO, for Chloe. The question is, does CAINIAO has corporate sustainability target? And what is the key focus in the target and how is the progress so far?
Actually, you can find more information on our website, but I just want to highlight some of the goals we have. Actually, we have a 5 score on our ESG goal. Of course, green or using less packaging would be one, but I just also want to highlight that we want to have a real sustainable business. So that means we are not only reducing the energy we use or reducing the packaging every day. We also want to provide a better environment for the whole society. So that means stable employment, better working environment, something like that. And and we also put a lot of attention to how we can provide services during the disaster, when it is in emergency, something like that. And for the goals, and actually we have very radical goals for the vehicles we use. Right now, over 50% of our vehicle back in China are using new energy. But to be honest, it's very difficult to promote it outside China. Even in Hong Kong, if we want to buy the e-vehicle, to be honest, it's much more expensive here than in China. Same brand, same model, but much more expensive. So we are finding our own ways. Maybe we need to leverage the financing solution as well to help us to do the sustainable business in different kinds of market.
So I think we are lucky to have companies like CAINIAO, who take sustainability so seriously. So the next question is from Benny. What is the best way to encourage your customers to join your circular system? Which team within the company should involve in this discussion? Anyone? So Gina, please.
So the most successful case of all the companies I've been working for has been the case when we actually dissolved the sustainability department. And not having them on the side, but actually putting all the people within the business unit. And through that, also putting KPIs for all the business people, for the product development, and for the entire chain. And that came as also directive from the board and from the investment, coming back to the capital market. And through that initiative and through that organizational change, it was a huge shift in the company.
Okay, thank you for the example. So I will take one more question, and that question is, how would you tackle greenwashings as well as country-to-country methodology difference in measuring sustainability? Who would like to attempt on this one? Yeah, Chloe, please.
Actually, I think we need to provide solution to the industry instead of just asking to stop doing greenwashing. I think one key element is that use the technology or the smart system to help you to record every data along your supply chain. And we actually develop our own system to not only monitor our every step on the supply chain, but also provide this data to our clients, especially the companies, so that they understand actually how much energy or how much carbon footprint they are creating. Yeah, so first of all, it's very important to capture this kind of data. Secondly, you need to find the right partner to work with you. And I'm not like promoting CAINIAO, but you need to find someone who share the same goals with you. Instead of you just want to do all by yourself, it's impossible. So just like our fellow panelists mentioned, collaboration is key. And also, I think the message to the customer is quite key. And I just want to echo a bit the question, the very radical one, promoting non-sustainable product. When you think about this, you also need to think about if you ban this kind of business, how many people are actually affected? When we go for sustainability, we are not only talking about yourself. We also need to think the other side of the story.
Yeah, when it comes to sustainability, there is 3 pillars: social inclusion, economic development, and environmental protection. So, ladies and gentlemen, our time is almost up. But I would like to ask our panelists each to give us 1 or 2 sentence takeaway so that we'll remember them after we leave this panel. So we start with Paul. What is your takeaway for us?
Very simple. First of all, manage your own life, reduce the waste, and apply the concept reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Thank you. Esterina.
Definitely collaboration, but also adopting a holistic approach that brings together environment, social governance, and culture.
Thank you. Gina.
So I would say start with the planet and people and let the product support those two.
And
So
Chloe.
my suggestion is to be more open-minded to all the solutions that are available. Maybe you will find more things that you can expect.
Let me give my 1 or 2 sentence takeaway as well. I think nothing changes unless mindset change. So let us all be open-minded and prepared to change. So thank you very much, panelists, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.